Hi guys, welcome back to AFL from LA Tips. I'm here with Andrew from Ankle Sore. How you doing today?
I'm okay.
You've had a very interesting week. The rage within came out. Seems like was well appreciated.
Well, it's been coming out for a long time, since probably round 20 last year, or even before that. I'm not alone in saying all Carlton supporters have had enough, so I just made it known, and hopefully the club sees it and does something about it, which I don't think they will, because we'll get to that later.
All right. Well, we're going to get to it sooner than you think, because the first game of the round is actually Carlton versus Hawthorn. It's a Thursday night game, MCG, 7:30. You still have your regular injuries out. I read that maybe Charlie's going to be back. Is that right or wrong? I'm not sure.
Okay, so we're talking about Carlton here.
Yeah.
This is what they do.
Okay.
They try to bring in the reinforcements and try and get all these players back, and he'll save us and this and that. Of course he'll be back. He'll be back on crutches if he needs to be.
Okay, so he'll be back.
Being honest.
They're going to be playing against a Hawthorn team who is out. Warple's still out, and now Scrimshaw is going to be out. Got to be honest, I haven't actually seen the incident.
It's bad. Yeah.
So well-deserved 3-week out by Scrimshaw.
He's lucky he got 3 weeks. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Yeah, he should have got 6.
So Hawthorn they beat Essendon, but Essendon, I think, surprised a few people. We'll talk about that later. What did they do wrong against Essendon?
Hawthorn?
Yeah.
Nothing. They just played their game.
Yeah.
Look, I've got a theory. It's not a theory. I think it's a fact, right? That all good sides sometimes don't play well but still win.
Right.
And I think that's what happened last Friday against Essendon. I think they just did enough to get over the line. And they did. They did it sort of comfortably without being spectacular. And they've just got too many good players. If one's down, the other one will stand up. And it's just like Will Day was brilliant the first round against Cindye. Didn't get a touch against Essendon. Wizard Watson didn't get a touch against Cindye. Was brilliant against Essendon.
Right.
So it's just...
Right. Good point.
They're my Hawks. I like to call them my Hawks.
Well, it's a good time to pick a second team, as I always say. When your first one
I'm leaning very strongly towards the Hawks, let me tell you.
All right. So Hawthorn enters this match as a premiership favorite. I mean, it's only a couple games into the round, which is slightly ridiculous, but okay, we'll go with it. Carlton suffered a humiliating loss in round 1 after blowing a 41-point lead. Charlie might be back, as we said. Does it matter?
No.
It's
irrelevant. Every player is irrelevant there. Every player at that club has now become irrelevant. And the world knows it now.
I guess we need to get straight into who loses and why.
No, we don't. I've got something to say.
You do? Okay.
So it's Tuesday here in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, okay.
Since the press conference on Thursday night,
yes,
I have not heard from anyone at the club. No captain, no coach, no player.
So they're in hiding.
It looks like it. I don't know what they're in hiding about. Come out and be honest with your supporters and say that was disgusting, disgraceful. We're an embarrassment. My Hawks, their coach last year, Sam Mitchell, at about round 4, came out in the public and said, bring your mouthguards to training, right? Which is Aussie rules talk for we're going 300 miles an hour. I don't care if someone gets hurt.
We're going hard, right?
Since then, they've been fantastic, right?
Yeah.
So what Carlton needs is some tough love. But they won't get it because Michael Voss he's got a heart like a pea. He was a fantastic footballer, but as a coach, he's a feather floating in the atmosphere. Can I swear here? Of
course you can. I love it.
I'm trying not to. I'm really trying not to.
I'm ready for an F-bomb. Go for it.
I'm so angry with this club, right? I'm so upset with this club that not only could they not beat St Kilda to play finals last year, that was 60-0 against Brisbane. Yeah. Brisbane kicked 60 before they scored in a final. And then they go and lose to the bottom side of last year, who everyone thinks are going to be bottom again, and we haven't heard a word.
Not a word. But don't
I've had
you
enough
think...
of Carlton. No, I've had enough. I've had enough of Carlton.
Yeah.
I'm sick of them.
Okay. But here's my question. So you're like, okay, so if Vossi's not going to give them the tough love, doesn't it seem like their community, I mean, not only did you give them like a tongue lashing, like all the people on the fan cams, all of the comments, even the comments on my show this week, like Carlton supporters are angry. And I'm sure that the message is getting back to the team. So in essence, aren't you guys the tough love that maybe they need?
In theory, you think that would be the correct answer, right?
Okay.
The tough love from the supporters.
Yeah.
But they are so insulated in that club. I've been
Yeah.
following for 40 years, Carlton, right?
Yeah.
I know how they operate. Now, they've been operating for this like this all my life, right? Which is great because they were winning premierships and they were successful for a long time. However, in the last 10, 15 years, everyone's too precious there. You can't say a bad word about anyone. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick.
Right.
You know this week, right, against
Yes.
Hawthorn, my Hawks,
Yes, your Hawks.
they should drop 20 players.
Yeah.
Drop. 20, including the captain.
Okay.
Because if that's how you lead a club, that's
Yeah.
disgusting, Patrick
Okay.
Cripps. The only ones that should be exempt,
Yeah.
Jacob Wiedering, Tom De Koning, and anyone under 20 years of age.
So
Now,
they should just pull a Richmond and bring in all the babies and let's let them rip.
all of them.
Yeah.
Because the season's over. They're not serious.
Yeah.
Carlton aren't serious. Season's finished. It's a waste of time. I'm sick of talking about them. I'm sick of it. I can't do this. I can't.
And yet you still... Come back, Andrew. We got a runner. Oh, I hear things breaking. Do I have to call somebody? Do I have to get Vito on the line? Hang in there, folks. He's really pissed.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That was powerful. Let it out. It's healthy.
You know, and then you get people commenting on my ankle sore channel saying, well, if you hate what Carlton's doing, don't support them. Are you serious?
Yeah, but that's
Come on.
not. I mean, that's a little. The house is on fire, but that's okay. I mean,
Exactly.
It's all right.
Let's not talk about that. You've been through enough.
Now, can I ask you who loses and why?
You can, but
do you want to opt out of this one? No one will blame you.
my Hawks aren't losing. I'm not going to say the other names, the other team's name. They can get stuffed.
So, who loses and why? I think on this one, we're both saying Carlton.
You're saying Carlton, not me. I'm not saying that word.
I said it for
Even though I
you.
just said it, but you know what I mean. You sucked me in.
Moving on, Friday, the Bulldogs, or I should say Footscray.
Footscray, yes. I was just about to.
Yes,
Yep.
I know. Versus
Good girl.
Collingwood. It's at the MCG. It's a 7:40 game. So we all know the Bulldogs are full of injuries. Same injuries as last week, except now Luke Cleary is out. So tell the audience what should have Archer done in this scenario?
Nothing. I don't think he could have done anything wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
so the guy goes to ground or throws himself to get the ball,
Yeah.
and Archer's kind of like just there and trips over him, There was no malice. There was no...
Could have been a legging, right?
Yeah, he could have broken his leg. So what happens if the roles were reversed and he breaks his leg?
Right.
Does the other guy Cleary get 3 weeks?
Absolutely.
Like it's silly. It's not about him being concussed, and that's unfortunate. That's football. That can happen with you going for a mark and hitting your head on the ground.
Yeah.
Do you give the ground 3 weeks? No. Do you suspend the MCG for 3 weeks when I play football there? No.
It seems like the AFL is making it pretty clear that they're more interested in outcome than intention.
But the AFL are idiots, as you know, so,
You heard it here. So Collingwood, Hoskin Elliott's out. I believe Markov's out. Josh Dacos is a test and Howe's a test. The Bulldogs last week beat North Melbourne, and we had a big conversation about it, and we'll probably talk some more about it today. Even with that showing, how are they going to beat Collingwood?
I don't know, because they're not.
They're not. Okay.
They're not that good. They were lucky to win last week, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought North were the better team last week, like much better.
Yeah.
They just gave up easy goals at the start of each quarter, which led to them losing on the scoreboard, basically.
Right.
But I thought North controlled the game and the Bulldogs struggled, I suppose. But they won, which is odd.
What do you think the conversations McFly, I like to call him McFly, McFly is having with his golden oldies over at Collingwood? I believe he rested Pendlebury. Was it Pendlebury or Sidebottom?
Pendlebury was sub. I really think them being legends of the Collingwood Football Club, they understand. Sidebottom and Pendlebury understand, and Jeremy Howe, they understand that, they're in their mid-30s, they're coming to the end of their career. They've still got value, but they'll be used sparingly.
Okay, so who loses and why?
The Bulldogs lose. Collingwood's just, the first week against GWS was just, they weren't ready, but now they've woken up and they're ready. That's why. They're a much better team than the Bulldogs.
I agree that Footscray lose because they just barely beat North Melbourne, barely. DeGoey might be back, and Collingwood is just not going to let it happen. They're classy across the ground, and I think, it's going to be another good week to be a Pies fan. Game 3, Essendon versus the Adelaide Crows at the MCG. All these games are at the MCG. It's like a trifecta.
I know. There's like 3 or 4 in a row. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's 1:20 p.m. So in addition to all the guys that were out for Essendon last week, Kyle Langford is now out. Ouch.
Yep, exactly.
Essendon looked pretty good, surprisingly good, I think, to a lot of people in the season opener. The Crows look better. I don't know. We've only seen them play once, so, who knows, but they looked pretty good. So where do you see Adelaide's biggest strength, and how can Essendon neutralize this?
Well, Adelaide's strengths everywhere. Their midfield, their defence, their attack, everywhere. Everywhere is... They haven't got a weakness, I believe. On the other hand, Essendon's got weaknesses in the forward line, in the midfield, and in defence. And that's just a fact. I told you here last week that Adelaide would smash St Kilda, and they did.
Yes.
I'm going to start calling them my Crows because I like them this year. I really like Adelaide this year, I'm telling you. Rankin and Rochelle.
Yeah, Rochelle was good actually too.
Exactly. So
and Thilthrope, I love. Like he's still channeling JK. Like all the he's the only
not
grizzly.
JK. No.
He's the only grizzly beast in the comp right now. I can't think of another one who's letting it wild. The beard and the rugged good looks.
Hang on. Hang on. Let me ask you something.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen the movie called Into the Wild?
Yes.
He had a big grizzly beard.
Into the Wild.
Yeah, it was like 20 years ago, right? It's a 20-year-old movie.
I was thinking of the other one, Wild, where Reese Witherspoon goes off on a self-journey.
No, not for me. But anyway, he had a bushy beard and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not Josh Kennedy, Cindye, all right?
In AFL, it is.
Look Michael Tuck up, and now you can say he's channeling Michael Tuck, all right? A 6-time premiership player.
What do you have
Josh Kennedy's won 1 premiership.
What do you have against JK?
Do you know where he played before West Coast?
Yeah, he played for the team that will not be mentioned. It was the best trade ever.
It worked both ways, let's be honest.
All right, let's move on. Anyway,
sorry. Why is this all about that team
I don't know why you get so frustrated over my Joshy.
I'm flustered. Today's just got me. I don't know.
Oh, okay, so who loses and why?
Who's playing again?
Essendon versus your Crows.
My Crows. Yeah. Oh, well, you picked it for me. Essendon lose. Because my Crows are they're it this year.
All right. Well, too many threats up front for the Crows.
Way too many.
It's a bridge too far. I'm saying the Crows are going to fly. Next, Port Adelaide versus Richmond. Adelaide Oval at 4:15 p.m. I believe it's a Saturday. There's not too many injury changes since this last round. Port Adelaide's midfield advantage and the home ground dominance would give them an edge, I would say, on this unpredictable Richmond team. However, Port Adelaide were bad. I mean, bad with all caps, bad.
Did I not tell you last week? Did you pick Collingwood? You picked Port Adelaide against Collingwood.
No, I didn't. I picked Collingwood. How dare you? How dare you question me? So Richmond have been inconsistent, obviously. Everyone, they're a young team. Everyone picks them to be bottom side. But let's talk about Lawler. Lawler versus Jason Horne-Francis. What do you think?
I like it. That's a good analogy. I like it. He's going to be just as good as Jason Horne-Francis. I mean, he won a game by himself last week in his first game of AFL football.
He was really impressive.
Astounding. However, against Port Adelaide, they're known to play a bit rough.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, and they need to. And I think they'll let the kid know that he's playing AFL football.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how he,
how he copes.
Goes with that. Yep.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Because they've done that to Harley, and Harley has a temper and didn't go so well for him. So let's see if this kid has a little bit more, inner strength, composure.
Inner strength, yeah.
So who loses and why?
Not with any conviction.
Yeah.
But Richmond lose.
Yes.
The only reason why I'm saying that is because they're such a young team, like I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Port Adelaide I think they'll hit them hard.
Yeah.
They got away with it last week, Richmond. Not got away with it winning. Good luck to them. They were fantastic last week, but they were allowed to play their game. I don't think Port will allow them to play that game. However, if Richmond can get that running game going, Port will be in a bit of trouble, but I think Richmond lose.
So I think it's all about redemption this week, and in front of your home crowd, Richmond are going to lose, but hey, wouldn't that be exciting if Richmond proves everybody
It'd be
wrong
awesome.
another week
I'd
in a
love
row?
them to win, actually. Yeah.
I mean, now that they're the underdogs, they're appealing to me. Like we
know how you choose your teams.
How I work.
Now, I'm going to make a big statement now.
Okay,
right?
let's hear it.
I'm going to bet 100 Nuggets.
You and your Nuggets.
Port Adelaide do not play finals this year.
So if my calculations are correct, you're now up to 200 possible Nuggets because you're
Correct.
betting. You re-upped on your Frio bet.
Yep.
Okay, and now.
But I'm not going to eat 200 at once. It's going to be 100 and well, it's not going to happen. So I won't be eating anything.
I don't know. I didn't hear. I don't know what the rules are here.
No, well, I'm making them right now. I'm letting you know on my channel.
Yeah.
Freo don't play finals.
Yes.
I don't need to eat 100 Nuggets. If they do play finals, I eat 100 Nuggets.
Yes.
Same as Port Adelaide. If they play finals, I eat 100 Nuggets. If they don't, I don't eat 100. But I'm not eating 200 at once.
We'll see about that.
No, we won't be seeing about that.
We'll have to see about the rules. We'll have to call in someone to up us on the rules because I don't know.
And if we get 1,000 likes on this video, I'll fly to LA and have them in Los Angeles.
Let's do it, folks. Let's get Andy to LA. We'll do next week's episode here. Well, maybe
not next week. End of the year. Wait.
You don't have a private jet? You can't just come on over? All right. St. Kilda versus Geelong at Marvel. There's been exactly one game that is not in Melbourne so far. It's a Saturday night game. I was so wrong about the Cats last week. I was, trying to support my Perth peeps. You're patting yourself on the back. Man, I was wrong. Geelong were on fire. Man, they were great. So let's actually talk about what was most important in that game. Let's talk about Tom Hawkins on the commentary team.
I thought he was all right.
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't he?
He wasn't biased at all. He was just giving an insight on Geelong and their players and the way they play, which was awesome. I loved it. I loved it.
It was funny because when last year, I was asking whether Selwood got bumped because now they've got Tom, but Selwood last year was saying, oh, well, all we need to do, and I'm like,
yeah.
Someone let him know he's not on the team anymore. But I actually thought he did
he did really well.
He was delightful. And he's still cute to look at. So I'm all good in this world. Okay. So there's no major changes, I think, as of now in terms of injuries and things like that. St. Kilda obviously has huge injury concerns. I just say St. Kilda and you're like, okay.
That was a slough.
They're not your Saints, clearly.
Not even close.
So what does Ross Lyon tell his guys they have to do in order to win this game?
It's simple. He has to tell them to cheat.
To cheat?
That's the only hope. Cheat.
Cheats.
Play with 22 on the field. Yeah. You've got to break all the rules.
Maybe they can hire the umpires who did the Melbourne GWS game to barrack for them, right?
That still won't help them.
Even your boys, I was shocked that Ange and Vito were like, oh, Melbourne was getting free kick after free kick after free kick. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah, they got a good run. Let's talk about that.
So who loses and why?
So they're even a question. Do I need to answer that with a straight face?
Have we actually disagreed on anything yet? This is getting boring. I don't think we've disagreed on one game yet. Okay. Who loses and why?
St. Kilda, because Ross Lyon's their coach. Simple, plain and simple.
Okay.
They signed him for another 2 years, which is embarrassing. The club's going nowhere. I'll be surprised if they're around in 2 years' time.
So I agree with you because as cute as Jack Steele is, he is not going to get meters gained for his cuteness. Geelong is going to take care of business and St. Kilda lose. So the first game on Sunday, this one's difficult to speak about. It's the Brisbane Lions versus the West Coast Eagles at the Gabba. Okay, here we go. So the Lions are the heavy favorites. They beat the Swans, but was it convincing enough for you? It was a very close game.
It was, but it was their first game of the season. The Swans had played one previously in that stupid opening round rubbish. They're coming off a premiership. They got the job done in the end.
Yeah.
No Danaher. I think they've not worried about him.
Yeah.
I think they're fine. I honestly think they're fine. I just think it was a bit of rustiness, but they still won, which is great. And Dane Zorko's a superstar. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves, honestly.
They did lose, what's his name?
Starcevic.
Yes.
And Kai Lohman broke his ankle, I believe.
Lohman is a tough... little guy.
However,
This
happened to them last year. 3 or 4 went down, and they still won the premiership. So they bat deep. Unfortunately, Lincoln McCartney did his knee last week at training, that's 2 years in a row, which is terrible. But look, they can cover it. Someone will come and kick 4 goals a week, and they're just good.
Is there any scenario whatsoever where the Eagles can pull a Richmond and win this game?
Absolutely.
Yes, really?
Yeah. If Chris Judd comes back, if Ben Cousins comes back, if Daniel Kerr comes back, if Dean Cox comes back, if Josh Kennedy comes back, if Tom Barrass comes back.
Oh, I'm loving this idea.
That's the only scenario.
So what do you think's wrong with the Eagles?
Culture, I think, is huge problem. Tim Kelly doesn't want to play football.
Yeah.
He's publicly said that he's not enjoying his football. Tim, take some time off. We're going to play some younger kids, right? Now, it doesn't mean they're going to win any games, but you need to look past the Liam Duggans and Liam Ryans that have been there for 10 years. And, you know, there's a point where you put a stake in the road and go, we're going this way.
Who loses and why? Dun, dun, dun.
Like the last round with St Kilda. West Coast lose. It's not even a question.
Yeah, the reigning premiers, you're gonna handle this wooden spooner. All right, here comes controversy. North Melbourne versus Melbourne. Marvel Stadium on a Sunday afternoon. No major changes in terms of injuries. Melbourne's defensive structure is one of the best in the comp. How do North Melbourne break that? And do they have the firepower to do it?
Nick Sivlaki. That's my answer.
Yeah.
Jack Darling was fantastic for him last week.
I was shocked at how much you guys were praising him. Well, because sometimes you have a hard time giving credit where credit is due, and old JD deserved a little love.
But he got it. He deserved it. He earned it.
I know. I was just happy that you thought so too.
Well, I'm happy to admit, you know,
he looks good in blue and white, you know.
It does. It actually suits him.
The game, Melbourne against the Giants, you were right. It was raining. You were like, it's not going to be as easy as you think. Max Gawn being in the ruck and not having our best ruckman, my Giants, not having...
You can have them. They're all yours.
Not having Kieran Briggs. It was detrimental. But going against North Melbourne, they have Sherry. So I think this is going to be kind of a fun, exciting matchup between those two teams.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this one.
And Stephen May is still out. The midfield is kind of exciting. Now, Sheasel and LDU weren't
okay,
quite there. But I can't imagine they're going to have 2 bad games in a row. It's sort of like when you're talking about the Hawks, the Wizard not firing on the first game, and the second game he was great. So
exactly.
I think this could be kind of a pretty exciting game. Who loses and why?
Melbourne loses.
Melbourne lose.
Yep. I loved what I saw from North last week. I think they were the better team that didn't win.
Yeah.
I think that changes this week. Melbourne's forward line is still dysfunctional.
Yeah.
I don't know where their goals are coming from. Yes, of course, Petrarca's going to kick a couple. And most of their goals came from midfielders, which you can't win many games kicking 11 goals anyway.
Yeah.
I think North will just play better than them. I know it sounds simplistic, but
no,
I just like what North's doing.
I agree. Yay. As good as Petrarca and Oliver actually had a decent game, didn't he? There's a lot of firepower in there for North Melbourne, and
absolutely.
I don't know. I'm with you. So
great.
Fremantle versus the Sydney Swans at Optus. Sunday evening, your dinner time game. I think you said it's a good time because everyone won't watch it. Okay, Sydney nearly beat the Lions. I mean, it was a tough matchup, and Freo was an absolute nightmare.
Say that again. What? So, pardon?
Freo was a nightmare. Oh. They're still screaming in their sleep over it. I think this might be a pretty tight matchup, though. And I'm going to tell you why. So Sydney lost 2 already, desperate to win. Freo completely embarrassed. They're going to be desperate to win. Now, if both midfields are firing, if you have Heaney and Chad Warner against if Sarong and Brayshaw, who weren't great, but if they were playing their best this week, that's going to be interesting.
Very.
McDonald's out. Mills is out. Switkowski is out for Freo, which is a huge loss.
Why does everyone think that?
I'll tell you how I know how good he is.
I know where this is going. Oh, I know.
Because I've never heard a name mispronounced more since T. Barras.
Really?
Yes. Swisskowski. They think his name is Swisskowski.
Swisskowski, yeah. I've heard that.
And every time we hear it, we laugh. So Switkowski, he's a good player. He's mentioned quite a bit. So Andrew, who loses and why?
Sydney.
Really? Mm-hmm. Why?
Because they're playing in Perth.
Okay.
There's talk that Isaac Heaney might be out. Might be out.
Really? That's news.
Yeah. Sydney something's missing. It was missing from the grand final, but they never got it back. Is it the scarring from the grand final last year? But something's not quite right there. And yes, we know about Goulden and Heaney and Warner being their best players. If they don't play well, they can't win. I get that, but there's something missing, and I think Freo love playing at home. That's who doesn't. But over there in the open spaces, they can. I think they can get Sydney.
Yeah.
So I think Sydney loses, but I think it's going to be a tight one. Wouldn't surprise me if Fremantle loses.
Yeah.
But I'm going with Sydney losing.
Okay, so check this out. As I was thinking about this and who was going to win this game, I was tempted to say Sydney lose. Then I read Bolton, Draper, Fife, Pierce, and Walters are all a test. Okay, now let's put aside your feelings about Walters and Fife, right?
Fife, yep. So
but
that's two
Alex
out,
Pierce and Draper.
I like Draper.
That's a huge chunk of their back line.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But what's Sydney's forward line? It's not much, right?
They still scored 70-something points, and Freo usually isn't a high-scoring team, right?
That's true.
Man, this one sucks.
You have a point. But you haven't said who you're tipping yet.
No, I haven't. So, as everyone knows, we're filming this like earlier than the
we're 5
team
days
announcement.
Out.
So
yeah, of course. Spit it out. Come on. Don't be scared.
Sydney lose.
So you're telling me
that
we've tipped the same in every game. We've finally got a royal flush, have we?
So now you have 2 bets going for Nuggets, and we still don't have our official bet here. So I mean, I feel like slightly slighted. I feel like I need to throw like another 100 Nuggets on the pile for you.
No. Where are your Nuggets? How come you don't? What, it's all on me, is it?
I offered to eat a grapefruit. I mean, come on.
Grapefruit.
I really don't like grapefruit.
100 grapefruits?
100 grapefruits. Are you high? Can't do that.
Oh, can I eat 100 nuggets? Probably not. Let us know in the comments. What do you want us to do?
All right, everyone. That's a wrap. Check out Andy at Ankle Sore. If you haven't seen his Carlton Corner from last week, you got to check it out. It's very exciting, and we'll see you guys next week.